Our next speaker is the Vice President of Sales and Training for the Zig Ziglar Corporation in Dallas, Texas. He began his career as a delivery boy for the IBM Corporation in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He then invested the next 14 years with IBM as a salesman, a people manager, and a sales instructor at IBM's National Training Center. In 1984, Bryan joined the Zig Ziglar Corporation. He designs and delivers training programs that improve team and individual productivity and growth. Bryan's recent book and audio program is entitled, So, You're New in Sales. One thing you can count on, Bryan will have fun today, and so will we.
By show of hands, how many of you are here this morning? Well, some of you aren't sure. Number one rule of success, show up on time, and show up dressed to play. Turn to your neighbor, everybody get a partner, everybody get a buddy or a buddy, look them in the eye, grab their hand, look them in the eye, and here's what I want you to say to them. God loves you, and I'm trying. Sandy wanted me to talk about the sales aspect of things. Everybody is in sales. You're in sales, I'm in sales, we're all in sales. Zig Ziglar said for years, your sales team is not your entire organization. Yet your entire organization is your sales team because there's not one person that can't cost you a sale. Now, I'm a reluctant salesperson. I wanted to be a high school basketball coach in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a reluctant and an accidental salesperson because I was raised kind of the same way you were raised. My mom raised me the same way your mom raised you. Here's what our mom said. Don't talk to strangers. Don't ask people for money. So I go into sales. For some of it, it's counterintuitive, but everybody's in sales. So if you have a handout there, you have some things at the front, on the middle of the tables. If you would pass those around, everybody needs one of those. You have those there. I'm going to skip a couple of things because Sandy only gave me 45 minutes. Oh, Sandy only gave me 15 minutes. So if you turn open there, you'll see on the right panel, you will see that there are two boxes. So if you have pen, you can do this. If not, you can do it mentally, unless you're from Oklahoma. So what's going to happen there? Now look, when I leave Texas and go to Oklahoma, I raise the IQ of both states. So if you'll take your pen or pencil there, or you want to do it mentally, the first box says, of all the things you sell, list 3 things that you sell. So think about that, give that some thought. Now normally this is what I get. I sell myself, I sell my products and services. I sell service. I sell our brand. I sell knowledge, I sell expertise. The next box of all the things your customers want, on the next box of all the things your customers want, list 3 things that your customers want. So the first box of all the things you sell, you listed 3 things. Secondly, of all the things your customers want, you listed 3 things. Somebody call out one thing that their customer, raise your hand, let me point at you. One thing your customer wants. Yes, ma'am.
Quality.
They want quality, thank you. Don.
Service.
Honesty. That's a fake accent. Honesty. Coming from this table, I'll take it. Honesty. What else? Yes.
Accountability.
Accountability. They stop right there. They want service, integrity, honesty, accountability. And you're selling products and services and knowledge. What's your problem? Your lists don't match. You're saying, Flanagan, hold on, that's a trick question. This is not a trick question. In the sales environment today, you've got to be on the same page as your customer. And your customer lives in that second box, and you live in the first box. This is not a trick question. Let me pose a trick question. Here's a trick question. I don't know how you get paid. I get paid weekly. Very weekly. So here's my question to you. How much money do you make on a sale you almost closed? Anybody? I've been on quota for the 44 of the 46 years I've been in sales, and I can miss a sale this much or this much, and I've never made a dime. We've got to be on the same page. Too often we aren't, but you get conditioned to stay in that first box. Because when the heat of the battle hits, when the bullets start flying on a sales call or an interview or a phone call, what happens? You go to your comfort zone. Your customer doesn't live in your comfort zone. You do. Let me prove this just for a moment, because I'm going to prove that you get conditioned to do things negatively. So we've had injuries in this exercise, Jim, so please put your pens down just for a moment. Now this is group participation, Danielle, so if you would, everybody give me the okay sign right about here. Watch me carefully, move your hand down here to your chin, or that's your cheek. Isn't it amazing how quickly, folks, it's easy to get caught up in what we do. It's harder in our heart of hearts to know what this other person wants, to be able to provide it for him or her. One of the great lessons I learned in selling, and I learned this when I was in my 50s, not my 20s, not my 30s, in my 50s. Here it comes. This is almost good. Pay attention. The intent behind your technique determines your ethics. The intent behind your technique determines your ethics. In your heart of hearts, if you know this is the right fit, then Rob, anything that I suggest to Mr. and Mrs. Ziegler who you sold to, anything that you suggest to this person is going to be ethical because you know it'll help them move forward. But in your heart of hearts, if you know this is not a real good fit, then you may want to back up until you know it is. Because any size marketplace is too small to have a bad reputation. So what we're trying to do is understand that if I spend more time in the customer's box than I do my box, I'm going to be a better servant. I love selling because it's a helping profession. Of all the professions where maybe not to the point of therapist for pediatrics, maybe not to the point of minister, missionary, but selling is a top shelf profession because we put people in a position to reach home safely. We put people in a position to achieve dreams, acquire things they never thought they would acquire before, and to be able to be productive in the world. So I'm going to tell you the story of how I learned these two boxes. I go to work for Zig Ziglar. I spent 14 years with the IBM Corporation, and I was a horrible salesperson. Now that doesn't mean I didn't sell a lot. I sold my furniture and I sold my car. And I go to work for the Zig Ziglar Corporation. I'm living my dream. This man changed my life. What a great Christian brother. What a great mentor. I go to work for him. I'm working for my hero. 3 months into my tenure, he comes up one morning and says, Bryan, I'd like to take you to lunch. Zig, I'll be there. So he goes off. I pick up the phone and call Cindy and say, Cindy, at lunch today, your husband, that'd be me, I'm going to get a promotion. She said, you're an idiot. Now, she uses that term a lot. She said, you're an idiot. What do you mean? You've only been there 90 days. I said, Cindy, the founder of the company likes me so much, he's taking me to lunch. I bet I get a promotion. I'm going to call you this afternoon and tell you about how much money I'm making. So we sit down at lunch. Zig Ziglar does not talk about my promotion. He talks about my performance. He said, Flanagan, 30 days, 90 days ago, 3 months ago, we sat down, we forecasted your sales as coming in this direction. I've been looking at your numbers. For the last 90 days, your sales have been flat. What's the deal? I thought he was about to fire me. So I leaned over and I said, I love you, man. He said, regardless of that, what are you selling? I said, Zig, I'm selling books, tapes, and seminar seats. Bryan, we don't sell books, tapes, and seminar seats. Well, Zig, what do? We provide information contained in books, tapes, and seminar seats. If our clients take, use, and apply the information correctly, what we sell is a better self, a better family, and a better career. The light bulb goes on in my mind. I think back 6 years prior when I read his book, See You at the Top, that literally changed my life. I didn't want a 382-page book. I wanted more confidence in myself. It's not what you sell, it's what you sell that helps that prospect. If you want to separate yourself from the competition, if you don't want to live on price, learn to sell the second box, which is value. Don't lead with the first box, which is product. Products tell, values sell. I had to learn that. That was very difficult for me. There are two things that I've done in my life that I'm so appreciative. Somewhere along the line, God dropped something in me that said, you need to do this. The first thing I did, I joined a Toastmasters club. Everybody know what Toastmasters clubs are? Wonderful organization. Speak, think, and listen more effectively. Until I joined a speakers club, you're looking at a guy that couldn't lead a group in silent prayer. So I joined my Toastmasters club. My first speech, I go 4 minutes and 35 seconds. I sit down, I don't throw up, I'm feeling pretty good. And my evaluator that night, the English professor from the local university, Nick the Knife Van Chrysler, he stood up and said, Bryan, you had 16 others, that'll cost you $4. I said, I'm sorry, Nick, I owe you $4? He said, no, you don't owe me $4. You owe the pot $4. Every time we catch you saying, you owe a quarter to the pot. My first year in Toastmasters, I financed 2 club picnics. I had an problem. Today I don't have an problem. You will not catch me saying incorrectly in front of a group. I took that training that I had with Toastmasters. IBM didn't want that training, so I brought it to the Zig Ziglar Corporation. I wrote a course on how to stand and present, and I got the job with Zig back in 1984. That boosted me into what I'm doing today. I didn't know all that. Somewhere along the line, somebody believed in me enough to say, Flanagan, go out and buy this book. So I went out and bought the Zig's book, See You at the Top. On page 48, one sentence changed my life. Here it comes. You cannot consistently perform in a manner that is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. How many have children? How many don't have kids? How many are too bitter to talk about it? We were blessed we adopted our children, so we actually had to qualify to be parents. Unlike a majority of people in here who created your children through unskilled labor, way to take fingerprints. Folks, your children can't outperform the image they have of themselves. But we belong to a builder. We belong to a carpenter. He builds us up. One of the things I love what Sandy is doing, build international. You're helping build internationally. Your presence today allows you to understand that. Your presence today supports that. Building people, spreading hope. Well, as a sales professional, you and I do that. That's our job. If in fact you have a servant's heart as a sales professional, you take people from where they are to where they want to be with your products and services, that's an outstanding way to spend 4 hours a day at work. That's an outstanding way to work through your career. Don't be afraid. When somebody says, here comes a salesperson, do not disappoint. I love sales. It's allowed me to go around the world. I love sales. It's putting my kids in the college of their choice versus where dad could afford to send them. I'm very respectful. I honor what this thing called selling. But also honor what Sandy's selling. Zig Ziglar said for years, and he's quoted this from someplace, and I forget the man he quoted it from, if there's hope in the future, that's what Sandy brings throughout the world. If there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. He's giving people power to empower. He's giving us a chance to contribute to that. And everybody in this room, everybody here knows that the greatest motivator in the world is to be involved with something bigger than yourself. And that's what we have the opportunity to do today. Let me close with this. This is one of my favorite stories. Edmund Hillary was the first man to climb Mount Everest. May 29, 1954, I believe, 1954, 29,000 feet up in the air. He planted a flag on the highest peak known to man. He was knighted for his efforts. He wrote a book called High Adventure. In High Adventure, he tells the story of the first expedition. He didn't lead it, but he was part of an expedition that went up Everest, but they failed miserably. They left 5 of their party dead in the snows of Everest. Yet a group in England said, come talk to us about this attempted greatness. So Edmund Hillary walks on a stage, and they start clapping for him. Well, he's touched by this, so he moves away from the lectern to the podium. We didn't have slides in those days. So there was a backdrop of Mount Everest, and he made a fist, he pointed a finger, and said, Mount Everest, you beat me the first time, but I'm going to beat you the second time, because you've grown all you're going to grow, but I am still growing. What a great opportunity we have to contribute to the growth. Not just the ministry, but the people you see over here on the resource table. The people that you see on the slides that Sandy touches, that we help him touch, even though we're long distance. Man, that's a great opportunity. Take advantage of that opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. If I can help, I'll be around. In closing, I've talked to a lot of groups, and I can say without a doubt, this group by far today has been the most recent.